What you are about to dive into is a story woven with tension, secrecy, and the kind of shadow-level negotiations that could only happen far from the public eye. In this dramatized account, a leak erupts from deep inside the Securities and Exchange Commission, an institution notorious for its fortified secrecy and legal firewalls. According to this fictional whistleblower report, the SEC has crafted a final settlement proposal so shocking, so unprecedented, that it threatens to rewrite everything the world believes about the XRP lawsuit. This is the story of a clandestine $10,000 per token settlement offer allegedly presented to Ripple's CEO Brad Garlinghouse, not as a penalty, not as a compromise, but as a calculated move designed to end a legal war, restore market confidence, and transform the future of digital assets forever. This script takes you on a cinematic journey into a world where regulatory silence hides global economic restructuring, where negotiations unfold behind closed boardroom doors, and where the price of a digital asset becomes the centerpiece of a geopolitical shift. Picture the opening scene in this fictional world. The SEC's headquarters in Washington, D.C. The building is quiet after dusk, but inside one office still glows with a single flickering fluorescent light. A senior attorney reviews a document stamped Private Settlement Framework, Restricted Access. The text inside is cryptic, coded and laden with implications. Its final page contains the line that detonates the narrative. Upon acceptance of this settlement, XRP shall be recognized at a provisional valuation of USD 10,000 per unit for regulatory reconciliation and asset classification. In the dim office, the attorney pauses, aware that this proposal, if ever revealed, would ignite global reactions. This fictional document is not just a settlement, it is a reset button, a recalibration that acknowledges XRP's strategic importance in ways the public has never imagined. As the storyline deepens, you enter the mind of the whistleblower who leaks the document. This fictional insider describes months of pressure building inside the SEC. Regulators, attorneys, economists, and political appointees argue relentlessly about the lawsuit's direction. Some fear dragging the case longer would destabilize the digital asset markets. Others worry that losing the case outright would cripple the agency's credibility. And then there are those who believe the lawsuit was a miscalculation from the beginning. In this dramatized environment, whispers circulate through corridors. The U.S. government may quietly depend on XRP's underlying technology for liquidity pipelines that already run between major institutions. If that rumor holds true, the lawsuit becomes a liability, one that must be resolved swiftly and dramatically. The story expands to a high-stakes meeting inside a secured conference room known as Room Sigma, the nickname given by insiders for its reputation as the birthplace of the most sensitive decisions. Ripple's leadership is not present. This meeting is purely internal. Here, SEC officials debate a radical proposal: end the lawsuit not by punishing Ripple, but by elevating XRP's classification to a strategic financial asset. Fictional internal research suggests XRP could serve as the backbone of a future liquidity system, and the lawsuit is holding back adoption. An economist presents a model showing that a $10,000 valuation, used not as a market price, but as a regulatory benchmark, would allow institutions to reconcile ledger values across global corridors without destabilizing the dollar. This is not meant for public markets, but for interbank settlement frameworks. The more conservative members in the room protest, but momentum is shifting. As the fictional drama intensifies, the script explores how geopolitical pressure enters the scene. International agencies begin advancing their own digital liquidity solutions. Europe accelerates digital euro proposals. Asia expands cross-border token settlement pilots. Middle Eastern banks tokenize mineral-backed reserves. And through all this, one detail haunts U.S. officials in the story. Ripple's technology is already woven into test networks across multiple regions. The U.S. risks losing influence over global financial architecture if it continues dragging Ripple through litigation. This pressure in the dramatized storyline forces the SEC to rethink strategy. Instead of positioning XRP as a security violation, they begin considering it as a sovereign-aligned digital asset. The $10,000 valuation in the settlement draft becomes a symbolic commitment and acknowledgement of XRP's potential role in global liquidity. The whistleblower recalls, in this fictional world, that after months of internal fighting, the agency creates the settlement proposal. The document outlines that XRP's provisional valuation is not an endorsement of a market price, but a regulatory construct designed to accelerate institutional adoption. Instead of penalizing Ripple with billions in fines, the SEC proposes lifting restrictions, declaring XRP a non-security, and establishing cooperative oversight. The settlement also contains unprecedented provisions. Ripple would assist U.S. agencies in designing transparency standards for digital asset corridors, while the government agrees to support Ripple's integration into financial infrastructure. The $10,000 value serves as the anchor for institutional reconciliation, a number chosen for both shock value and strategic weight. Meanwhile, the dramatized script shifts to an internal scene at Ripple's headquarters. Brad Garlinghouse receives the settlement document through an encrypted legal channel. He reads it once, then again unsure whether the offer is genuine or a test. The terms are so radical that they undermine years of litigation narratives. Around him, senior executives debate the meaning of the valuation. Is it symbolic? Is it practical? Is it a trap? The document suggests a mutual interest in resolving global liquidity challenges, but it also places enormous responsibility on Ripple to align with regulatory frameworks at a scale never before imagined. The fictional narrative explores Garlinghouse's internal conflict. Accept a settlement that elevates XRP into unprecedented financial territory, or reject it and risk further uncertainty. As the story progresses, global financial institutions begin sensing that something monumental is happening. Without seeing the settlement document, they notice regulatory behavior shifting. Banks receive unusual compliance notices hinting at future updates to digital asset classification. Government officials speak cryptically about ensuring America's leadership in tokenized finance. Ripple's meetings with international regulators intensify. Analysts speculate that something transformative is brewing behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the whistleblower watches from inside the SEC, knowing the truth: the settlement offer exists, signed by key officials awaiting Ripple's response. The video then dives into the emotional and political tensions surrounding the leak itself. The fictional insider fears that bearing the proposal would sabotage the future of American financial innovation. At the same time, leaking such a document could lead to severe consequences. The whistleblower describes the moment they copy the final page of the settlement and pass it to a trusted intermediary. They know that once the information escapes the building, the agency will scramble to contain the fallout. Yet they believe the public deserves to know that negotiations of this magnitude are underway. In the final act, the dramatized script depicts the aftermath of the leak. News spreads quietly at first, then erupts across digital communities. Analysts, influencers, economists, and market observers debate the meaning of a $10,000 valuation. Some dismiss it as fictional or symbolic. Others argue it confirms XRP's potential as a global bridge asset. The SEC refuses to comment. Ripple remains silent. But in the fictional world of this narrative, the public now has a glimpse of the truth. The lawsuit was never just about securities law. It was about shaping the future of global finance. And if the leaked settlement is real, it means the United States government may have already conceded XRP's importance long before the world was ready to accept it. The story closes with a final